welcome to our Indiana Matt Guerrilla Radio. This is episode number 69, and we will have comments here in a second because it never does that right. I'm Joe Caprino. I have Mike Reiser here, the ranking extraordinaire. Did pretty good on his picks, not as good as he wanted. You're all recovered from the meet and greet.
Today's the first day my voice is back, and I don't know if it's back to normal yet. So definitely a great time.
Yes.
Had by all, I think. I think I was like probably, if I was ranking the people that are having the best time, I was probably like fifth.
There are a lot of people having a good time on Saturday night, that's for sure.
Yeah.
This is going to be one of our fun episodes. We get to talk about state, get to give out the awards, the Indiana Matt Awards. And I know everyone wants to know who's going to be Mr. Gorilla. I mean, yeah, but we're not going to do that right away. So, but a lot of stuff to talk about. As a heads up, this will be our last one for probably a couple weeks. Mike and I have been talking. We're going to try to keep this going about once a month during the off season, maybe a little bit more as we go. We have some more events and might be able to bring on some guests, but I think a lot of people like these things. They enjoy watching them, even if it is out of season. I don't know why they like watching us talk, but I guess it's semi-popular. Everyone comes up to us this weekend. I know people, I love watching you, and you never know who's watching or how many people are watching, but it's always fun to get those compliments and such. So that's a little housekeeping. So how what do you think of state, Mike? What's your first reactions?
Obviously closing out. I think both. If you left early for the last for lunch, I know a lot of people leave early for lunch. You missed some really good ones. The heavyweight, Michael Watts and Alex Cartwright was really good right at the end of the semis. And then AJ Fowler also had a good match there, and I was gonna go into that with Jacob Bolte, which I had 1 and 2, a rematch from the Al Smith, and then the finals. Obviously, the AJ Fowler match was really good. It was a good match for me. I'm a Calumet alum, so it was good to see Calumet get a champ. They hadn't had a guy in the finals since 1999, which I was also there, which was pretty cool. So AJ wasn't even alive the last time Calumet had a guy in the finals. So
yeah, no, that's always good.
But overall, just a great weekend, like top to bottom. I think the rankings held up pretty well. I know I was trash talking the people around me, my friends, not like people in the crowd, that there was a lot of 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the semis, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, those are really good, especially like the finals. The best was the comment from someone, I think from Kansas, when I posted that. It's like, oh, see what happens when you seed the tournament? And like, no, it wasn't seeded.
Yeah. Which is pretty amazing, and not to pat myself on the back, but we lock them before the state finals, and to get 1, 2, 3, and 4 into the semis is pretty good, because I think that the state has a ton of depth. And obviously, they weren't all clean-cut matches. It wasn't like Cole Cervantes, Eli Dickens, and in the quarters was a really good match. And I think Cervantes was 10. But overall, I think, what was it, 3 guys without a ranking that ended up medaling?
Yes, I believe so.
Vince Yoder was 1. Trey Mucker. Hopefully, he's all right. I know he was injured in the quarterfinals.
Yeah,
from Tell City.
Yeah, that was right before we were wrestling. Who else was the last one?
And Harper Deadman of Oak Hill.
Yeah.
So, and all those guys were on the watch list, except for I didn't have Trey Mucker, so I didn't get a ton of Tell City stuff in this year. But, like I said, hopefully he's okay. I know that looked pretty scary. Yeah. Anytime someone has to be taken out on a stretcher, it's pretty scary. He was able to come back and go on the mat and when they were giving the forfeit, but still, that's not how you want to see a guy go out.
Yeah, especially as a senior. And he had I didn't see it, but I saw it on the board in the back. But he had a pretty crazy Friday night match where he was down by like 5, I think, and came back and got 4 or 5 and got late. I assume I didn't see it, so all I assume is he got a takedown and some near fall and tied it up, and then got into overtime and won. So that was sounded like it was a pretty good match. Obviously, I had some coaching duties to attend to, so I didn't get to see some of the good matches there. So
yeah, and obviously Friday night I caught the end of it. Friday night everything's going on so much it's hard to follow. I think it's the hardest night to follow. But congratulations to him. I mean, he's runner up at Evansville, and he was able to get a medal. So come from behind. I think, what did you say, he was down 8 or he was down 4 to tie it up?
I think he was down 4. I just know I was like, I think Fiechter's going to win. Fiechter's, I always root for Southern Wells. I really like that program and everything. All the Fiechters, there's about a dozen of them. I don't know. I think the Fiechters and the Fowlers are in a contest. See how many career wins they can have. I don't know. They might. I think they probably have close to 500 also. But
I think it's gonna be the Rio's going for it. I think there's a bunch of Rio boys, right?
Oh, geez, that's not good.
I think Ray's the oldest.
I know they have a couple smaller ones, but haven't kept up on the Rio family tree, I guess. Yeah, but the Fiechters always root for him, so I was like, oh yeah, good for him to get a medal. And you're looking at the board and you're seeing 15 seconds to go, he's up by 4 or whatever it was, and you're like, usually that's a pretty good indication you're going to win. And obviously some stuff happened late that I don't know. I obviously, like I said, I wasn't there watching. I can go back and watch the video, I guess. I could probably do something like that, maybe. So, but yeah. So.
I mean, overall, this is a really good weekend. I don't think that there was. Luckily there wasn't the big officiate. I think there was a couple. Like I know on the board Friday night there was a couple posts about officiating we took down, but overall I thought it was a pretty clean weekend. I know last year that was a big topic, but I thought the officials did a really good job. There was one towel guy; he did a great job.
Yes. One of them. We won't tell you. We won't say what Matt. I heard he got scratched though. I heard one cow guy got scratched. I don't know how.
Yep, I heard he was the first person.
Yes. Usually this time of year I do not like getting on the message board, but I have to make sure there's people are behaving, and there usually are many posts that are taken down and people that are given small or maybe long vacations from the website. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't trash kids. Don't trash officials. We already have a huge shortage of officials, and if you want worse officiating, complain about them on a public forum. That's how you get people quitting, and then less officials, less quality. So just do it in your text group text messages, and that'll be fine. Do it on Twitter. Just don't tag Indiana Matt. But yeah, we tried. A lot of the officials are my friends, even though some of them are not. So no, officials are they're good people. They're human. They make mistakes, and when you're doing your job, you don't have 10,000 people that think they can do your job better yelling at you either. So, one thing, finally got the academic all-state stuff. I saw that, and impressive things. 7 of the champions were on the academic all-state, which means they had a 3.25 GPA or higher. And then there's 2 that could not get it this year, which is the 2 freshmen, Cernas and Mendez, that won state. So 7 of the 12 eligible guys had academic all-state, which is pretty stinking impressive, to say the least.
And I think those guys are pretty good students also. So
yeah, I'd assume that if you're going to CMA, you're probably a pretty good student. They probably keep you in line there too. So
yeah. That's pretty amazing. I know they did the Hall of Fame on Sunday also. I seen Jim Tante was the Billy Thom Award. I think that's a pretty fitting guy for that award. He's a great coach. I was really impressed. I was having a conversation with one of the coaches in the hall during the medal round, and just as guys coming off the mat, and you see the emotion, and you just see how Jim kind of handles that, and I think that's pretty amazing. I know I had posted it on their post, and I think that's something that's not seen a lot,
Yeah, no, he does a great
Yeah.
job, and those kids will fight for him, and that's one thing as a coach that they you can fight for yourself, but if you're fighting for others, you're fighting for your teammates, you're fighting for your coaches, you're gonna get a lot more out of your kids when they believe in you, and when they're in that on the mat for more than just themselves. I've seen it, multiple times. You have kids that I've had kids I coached that were really good dual wrestlers. I mean, they do anything for the team, but you get them in an individual tournament, and they just weren't as good because they were actually selfish, like most wrestlers are, and they just I've seen kids like that, and that it's always I like those kids, and also want those kids that can perform and be selfish, but that's a good thing. I saw a lot of those guys in the right there that were that they knew they're fighting for Jim and the rest of their coaching staff and for each other. It looked like when you have teams like that, you see all those kids together. They've trained together. They've had blood, sweat, and tears together. So it's always neat to you see those teams with those kids that have 3 or 4 guys there that know that they all know what they've been through, and they all will fight for each other, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, just by weights, Cernus looked amazing. I think the entire weekend, I know he looked really good at East Chicago. I think everyone kind of got to see a little bit of what we saw at EC, just how good he is positionally and how he's really good in the top position. And he's just tough to score. And I think technically, I didn't know, because Cotty's a pretty big 6. Like, pretty big for that weight class. I know people like to say, oh, he's not big. Like, there's a big 6. That's kind of an oxymoron. But for that weight class, he's very large. And I think that Cernus really handled it. I could see Cernus being 106 again next year also.
Yeah, no, that's he looked really good. I was really impressed. That's the first time I really seen him, and then I saw him I think Friday night. That was pretty interesting. I was like, wow, he's tiny. Like, when you said he's tiny, I mean, I don't know what he weighed, but he might be 106 pounds, but I doubt he cut any weight. So it was pretty impressive. And, like, that's one thing we were talking before. Like, is he going to be able to handle Cotty, who's at least, he weighed in probably 109, probably gained 5'6". He could have easily, by the time they wrestled, easily have weighed, had 10 pounds on him. So that's pretty impressive there.
Yeah.
And Cotty's no slouch by any means. He's been on the lights twice.
No.
He's placed at Fargo. He's been placed at a dozen national tournaments. And just he's tough. He's tough as nails, and that's a really big win. I know. I'll make a joke at a national ranking guy. I won't mention his name. He's really short, is bald, and he voted for Cernus for Mr. Gorilla. So I had to give him a hard time about that because it's only for seniors. So that's how impressive he was nationally for national level guys that were watching that. So just as a heads up that he's going to be pretty good pretty soon.
Yeah, 113. Moran, Seltzer, I think that lived up to the hype. 1 and 2. I mean, Zeke's going to be really good. He's really good right now. I wouldn't be shocked if he runs off the next 3. Jay closed out his career. He looked really good in the semis. I think I would be willing to bet he's probably one of the only guys in high school that tech fall Ben Dalton. I thought the Bandit looked good. I got my Bandit shirt and wear it tonight.
I should have worn that shirt. Yes, I got my Bandit shirt too. Traded him. He has a nice Indiana Matt shirt now. I don't know if he's I don't know if he's joined in yet, but yeah, he looked real good. I don't get to see many Monrovia guys. The mullet looked nice. Man, him and Jake Combs. I thought there might have been. I think I saw them staring each other down. It was not. It was going to be mullet on mullet crime. I was really scared that there was going to be something ugly going on there with those 2 mullets staring each other down.
Definitely the 2 best mullets in the gym, right?
Yeah.
Jake Holmes, man, he brought the whole package. He had the old windbreaker. He had that mustache. That was good. He had more chest hair than I have. I'm 36. So he brought a look, man. He brought a look sure.
Yes, and I believe he's only a junior, so hopefully he comes back next year and you're gonna have another year to grow that mustache out to get that get some more fluff in that mullet. I just hope we can not have an ugly stare down like we did between him and Dalton. That was not pretty.
Yeah, I thought 13 was good, man. 13 was a good weight.
Yeah, real good weight. 20.
Littell and Borman. Bedic Saturday morning was really good. I always say that's one of my favorite rounds, just based on it's such an unpredictable round, but that was a 5-4 match, I think. You might have been doing some coaching at that point. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think it was a. Let's see. I have these brackets that are pretty easy to go through. It was a 5-4. Borman won. That was a real good match. And Borman looked good. Obviously, these Southern guys we don't get to see very much. So, him and Liddell is really good. He's really good. and Borman's no slouch, and he put it to him, which was pretty impressive. So,
and I think Littell, one of the things, and we talked about it early on in his career because we seen him at Indiana Mat. He took third, and he beat some really tough guys there going into high school before he'd even stepped on a mat. And I was really impressed with him. I thought he had the opportunity. His only loss his freshman year was the ASA. That might be his only loss in his career, is the ASA.
Yeah.
I know he beat Viduya a couple times, and that's the year Viduya won it. I thought he was right in the mix to be a multiple time champ. Lost a year to transfer, lost a year to a knee injury. Yeah. So I think that was.
Combs is a senior. No, don't break my heart like that, Dana. Don't break my heart like that.
Dang.
My heart is broken.
We gotta get him. He needs to go wrestling somewhere. I don't know if he plays anything else, but the mullet needs to live on.
Yes.
Yeah. North Central's coach did have a mustache. I compliment him on that. That thing was thick, man. That's it took some time to grow that mustache.
Yeah. Looking at pre-freshman year, the fall for Littell at IPO, he beat Jose Diaz 4-1. Lost to Corey Gamet from Michigan. I think he's from Davis, and he's pretty good. He beat the snot out of Wyatt Miller. I think Wyatt hasn't had a stuffy nose since then. Beat Hunter Watts 8-0 major, and that's a 1-1-1. Luke December from Tennessee, who's pretty good. And beat Jabin Wright, who was a 2-time state qualifier, who's pretty good. Then beat Caden Rooks for third. That's a gauntlet. He wrestled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He went 8-1. 8-1 on one day. Wrestled 9 matches. But he slept well.
That's the one that we had. So I think he came in his freshman year at 113, ranked number 3. Wrestles Corey Cavanaugh, who I think was 2 or 1 at the time, and beat him up pretty good at the Lake Central Harvest Classic. So I think that was a kid that it was good to see him get his first one. I think he could have had multiple. Just you never know. It's never a given.
Yeah, we could easily be talking about a potential 4-timer. Obviously, he's a 1-timer, which any of us we'd both take 1, but he's right there. I mean, he was the only one that obviously beat Viduya. So that would have been, Viduya had 2 losses on the year, and that was to him. So that's a very interesting, how good is he going to be? I know he's pretty darn tough. He's placed at Super 32, Fargo, a couple-time IPO placer in some pretty brutal weight classes too. It's not like he's winning an easy weight class. I don't even know. He obviously lost this year to Mendez, but he beat some pretty good kids on his way there.
Yeah, he lost to Mendez 1-0.
Yeah.
Right? That was 1-0 at the IPO.
Yeah. And
think about that. Just kind of segueing into 26, think how good Jesse looked the entire year. Top to bottom. We've seen him the entire year. And the Hunter Watch match, we wanted to see that in the finals, but that was the semis. And, man, he really, I thought he kind of buzzsawed him. Yeah. That's not disrespectful to Watts, but it just looked like whatever Watts threw at him, Mendez had the answer. And I know Jimmy Fogarty calls him Phenomenendez. I'm not even sure if I said that right. They told me several times about 2:30 a.m. Friday night, so I'm not really sure if I got that right, but I know he's watching. I just seen him comment. But 1-0 with Mendez is pretty good. I mean, what is that? Is that 1-2-2 or is it just 2s across?
2-1-1. 2-1-1 there.
2-1.
He chose neutral in third just because, obviously it changes your strategy a little bit. when you're, you know you have to get an escape and then you have to score a takedown. You got to get a takedown either way. Why don't you give yourself a full minute to do it?
Right.
So, those types of things, and it's a preseason tournament that got to leave it on the line and get after it. So, he looked real good. That Watts match, I saw Watts at semi-state, and I was like, man, he looked good. I was like, he's gonna give Mendes a good run again, and that didn't happen. That was and like you said, everything he threw at him, and he was throwing everything at him. I mean, it wasn't like he wrestled poorly by any means. Jesse stepped it up and kind of very much was very impressive there. If you tell me he would have majored Watts, I would have probably put a lot of money on that. Say no way. I'd say that wasn't gonna happen. So very impressed with him, especially there. And then Rio had a good tournament, beating Curtis. He beat Curtis at the IPO, so that's pretty impressive. Rio always wrestles well at Banker's Life. He'd be undefeated.
Yeah.
Probably. He always comes in just with a few losses, and then does what he needs to do at Banker's Life. So always done well there.
That weight class was loaded, man. Just top to bottom, I thought that was. I mean, look at like Lucas Wallenczak was 8th. He's a returning state semifinalist. You have one of my favorite guys in and Wagner, who just goes out there and scores points. Almost got upset Friday night. Comes all the way back, ties it up. He's exciting. We hung out the Heath family, great family. They were awesome. The kid seems really nice. So definitely some Fort Wayne love there. I think that with those guys moving on, I think that weight class is going to be very well represented by Ian Heath. But you had Braden Curtis going out. And I told McGill this, and congratulations to Eric McGill. I seen that the Bulldogs posted today that he's going to help them coach going forward, Crown Point. But something I really like at the NCAA is in the All-American round after, before the finals, when guys go out there, they announce, like, which would have been cool for, like, Braden Curtis, like, hey, Yorktown, get up on your feet. You have a 4-time medalist going out, 2-time champ, which is something I think that the NCAA does a really cool job of. And just give those guys, like, one last run, like, especially, like, a guy like Curtis or Watts, 2 guys that went out, they had 4 medals. That's really represented that program.
Yeah, 4 medals is no easy task, in adding a championship at least for both of those guys. That's pretty impressive for those guys, and they're both going to go on to do pretty good things in college. I know Watts is going to Central Michigan, and Curtis is heading down to Tennessee. No, is it Kentucky?
Tennessee.
No, he's Kentucky.
Kentucky.
So, and he has a guy that I know was a decent wrestler, and Travis Barquillo coaching him. So, and I know I think Sinkovics is there. So is Hayden Lee. So he's gonna have a lot of small guys to wrestle with, and that'll probably kick his butt a little bit. So he's gonna get a lot better. You have a round robin with those 4 guys. He's gonna get better, and he's gonna have a lot of he's gonna have some success down there. And definitely a great kid. Always comes up, says hi, and very friendly. I know he came last year before the semifinals at semi-state. He went over to Joe Just, the kid I was coaching, and told him good luck. And Joe came over like, I don't know what to do. He just said good luck. He was like all freaked out because he said good luck. And he's like, I've never had someone come up and say good luck to me. So he was all freaked out. So whether you're, I don't know if that was some mind games or if that was just him being a nice kid. I think it was probably just him being a nice kid. And Joe was all freaked out about it, about him being coming over and saying good luck to him. But yeah, great kid. And obviously Watts is a great kid too. So I'm excited to see what see how he does at Cumberland's. So
yeah, and obviously we couldn't say that we could do a whole show on how impressive Mendes was the entire weekend. I think that it's going to be a good 4 years for him, I would say.
Yes.
Projecting forward, you can always say, oh, man, maybe he jumps 2 weights and him and Viduya going after another state champ or something along those lines. But we'll say that for another show.
Yeah. Well, once we start seeing these off-season weights and see how much these kids really weigh.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I don't. I mean, I'd like this. That'd be a fun match to watch, but I have a feeling Beduya might be 45-ish. He's big
Yeah.
next year.
32. I mean, 1 and 2 also again, and you close out a career. I mean, that to me, that's one of the best rivalries in Indiana, just because of the matches were so close, and I think that Asa really closed it with an exclamation point.
Yeah, that was.
I know we give Chris a hard time, but he did. Asa looked phenomenal the entire weekend, entire career. I mean, you go up third, champ. You know.
Yeah, no, he had. He came. Especially his freshman year, he came in with some losses, and under the, I guess, not really under the radar, but one of those that he's not going to win it. Comes by. He had pins in 2 of his finals matches, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
He pinned.
Capped him, right?
Yeah,
Pinned as a freshman, pinned as a senior.
Yeah, pinned Keon Murphy in a match because he lost to Murphy earlier in the year, I believe.
Yeah, Team State, I think.
Yeah, so that was that was a real good. He had came in as a didn't win sectional. It's kind of interesting. He's won more state titles than he's won sectionals or sectional regionals and semi-states. Which is really crazy. He didn't win He didn't win any of them till his freshman year. He won all 3 sophomore year. Didn't win any. Only won state as junior year. So yeah. He's won 2 sectionals, 2 regionals, 2 semi-states, 3 state championships. So he comes to wrestle at Banker's Life. Him and Rio like that place.
And I mean, obviously Alec Beduya, an amazing talent. I thought I was excited for a really good match, and he just kind of got caught in a weird position and pinned, and it could just be that quick. I think that was the rubber match. Beduya beat him in the semis, and then you turn around. Asa beat him in the semis last year, beat him this year at Team State, and then beat him at state championship. So I'm sure Alec will be back, and he'll be the favorite or whatever weight he goes to. Barring he matches up with someone like Mendez, who has obviously looked phenomenal.
Yeah, no. Think about this. Asa's lost more matches at Avon High School than he has Banker's Life. And he's been to Baker's Life.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
So, very impressed with him. Good luck to him and IU. Really good weight class, top to bottom. I mean, you had a 3-2 match and a 5-3 match in the semis. Lots of really good matches. So we'll move up. 138. Rooks.
132 was one of the 1, 2, 3, and 4s that we had.
Nice.
I think 126 also.
Yeah.
So not a bad run.
Rooks looked really good, as expected. He, him and Connor Gimson, they keep spelling Connor Gimson's name wrong. It's not O-R, it's E-R. I don't know why the IHSA insists on spelling it Connor, but I've had to correct it on my brackets and stuff, and I do not know why, but he also wrestled Colin, better known as Drew Kreitzer, Friday night. Braxton Alexander had a real good weekend, making finals, beating Frigi pretty handily there.
Yeah.
Frigi was looking real good. You got a major first round, and then also had had that injury default with Mucker, but yeah, he was looking really good there.
Yeah, I thought Braxton Alexander dominated the East Chicago semi-state and then was able to go out there and put it together, which is good because last year he is in a tough situation where he had an injury default in the ticket round and then came back this year to get back on the lights. So we went medal, injury default in the ticket round, and then under the lights, which is pretty amazing for him.
Yeah. No, Rooks, I asked Rooks after if he was bragging to his brother that he's twice as good as him because he had 2 state championships, and he said yes. And I said, good luck. You're going to see him on Monday, and he's probably going to kick your butt. But, yeah, good kid. He was pretty.
Yeah.
He laughed, and he said, yeah, I'm probably going to get my butt kicked, but I will say it. So, good to see him close out his career. Real good career. What's he have, 6 losses maybe on his
Yeah,
on his
maybe.
career because he only had one his freshman year. Had one this year when he bumped up. Last year
He lost to Ace in the ticket round, right?
yeah
His
lost to
freshman year.
yeah freshman year. Um, had two losses last year to no who did he lost to? Did he lose to Asa both times?
Triana. No, no.
Oh yeah, he lost to
But
Triana, didn't he?
yeah, Triana. Yeah.
He lost to Triana, so yeah, there's three. Or no, he did not lose to Triana. That he beat.
Who did he lose to in the semis of the Al Smith?
He did last year. He didn't lose at the semis. And that's 2 years ago. 2 years ago,
Okay.
he lost to Triana. Yes, and that's when he won state with one loss. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses on his career. So that's
Pretty
pretty
amazing
darn
career.
impressive. He said Team State and okay, Team State there. Is that it? Is that right?
Spires dropping
Yep,
in.
Spider Man. Man, that's why you're in the big bucks, Spires. Yep, he lost to Asa at Team State. So he's lost 5 losses, 4 of them to Asa, one to Tyler Triana.
And then they get to be practice partners for the next 4 years at IU.
Yes, and he's gonna be a little bit bigger. it looks
IU,
like.
great recruiting class, right?
Yes. 145, Matt Lee. Very, very, very impressive. I know Josh
Yes.
Lowe, Intermat, said he's, if you're going to give a most improved award like on a national scene, he's really stepped it up. He beat a very good Alex Mosconi. Mosconi's kind of one that gets overshadowed, especially at Cathedral when you have guys like Rogers and Slivka and even like a younger Salzer and stuff. But Mosconi's pretty darn tough, and that's one thing.
Yeah.
And he's not committed, which is going to be very interesting. I don't know. Obviously, grade-wise, that's always something that's people look at, so I don't know what his grades are, but he's a 2-time runner-up, 3-time placer, qualifier as a freshman, I believe.
Yeah, 4 trips.
Yeah, he's been to, and so yeah, he's one that's I'm pretty. He's pretty much he's pretty under the radar. Would be a great pickup for any program. I mean, he's placed at Fargo. He's done a lot nationally. Not afraid to throw you or know you. But yeah, so that's one that I'm kind of interested in seeing. He's probably one of those top senior. I'd probably say the top senior that's still on the board. So if you're a college coach, see what he does.
The top four at 45 aren't committed, correct? I didn't think Antoine Graves was either, because that Antoine Graves Matt Lee match in the semis was great.
Yeah, no, he's not committed either. Obviously, Warren and Lee are underclassmen. Macklin is a senior. So, yeah. And then Curvin is a junior. So, yeah, there's Graves and Mosconi will make a pretty good wrestlers for whatever program they head to. So, that
Oh, yeah.
So, but, yeah, Matt Lee, very, very impressive. Haven't heard if he's going to do like his brothers did and head to Penn State for a year. So we'll figure that out. I guess we'll find out soon. Maybe Mr. Lee will send me a message and see what he's going to do. I'm not sure the plan, but he's really jumped levels this year. I'm curious to see. I know they hit up the freestyle circuit pretty hard, and you might see him at some events this spring and summer, and might help decide what he's going to do. So,
Yeah.
152. This kind of lived
What
up
a
to
weekend.
yeah. This lived up to the billing because there were lots of close matches from Friday night all the way through Saturday night. Oh, Hereford. You come up to Carroll. We'll wrestle. We'll tangle.
Yeah, I think 152 across the board was such a good weight class. Elliot Rogers had some matches where you thought he was pretty close. I'm not being biased. I know you guys wrestled him. He gets put to his back. He's in a big hole. He comes all the way back, wins that one. He's in a hole with Cooper Norrie. Cooper Norrie looked amazing the entire weekend. I think this was really his breakout year. I know he's been pretty good the last couple of years, and he really showed out this year. And then Elliot Rogers was in a hole in that match and came all the way back, won that one. So good for him. Now he's been, fourth, second, first? Not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. It was just this whole weight class. I mean, you have the quarterfinals. Dickinson Cervantes was pretty wild and crazy. I didn't see or hear anything about the Nori Levitz match, but obviously Rogers and Hicks was 10-9. Ellis and Shanagi was a overtime match. There's a lot of good matches there, and you wrestle that weight class 10 times, and you're probably gonna get 10 different results out of that one. A lot of really good kids. Even like Cervantes, he stand Friday night. I remember watching that. That went into overtime, and
came all the way back. He was down big, tied it up, took him down a couple times late, tied it up. Cervantes was in those shootouts. He was one of those guys you're watching and you're just those are the guys that go out there and put it on the line, and it was just exciting that Friday night and that Saturday morning. He was in both those matches, high scores. What was the Dickens and Cervantes match?
19-10.
Not bad. Yeah. Not a bad match.
Yeah, there were some good matches there. So, 160. Rogers, did what he needed to do to win. I mean, he won 3 really, really close matches, and that's what you need to do.
A nasty draw Friday night too.
Yeah. 1-6.
He beat Conley, right? He beat Conley Friday night.
Yes, he did. And Conley's Conley was a giant slayer all year long.
So he beat Conley, who had an amazing season. Hicks, who had an amazing season. Then he beat Ellis, who had an amazing season, and then beats Cooper Nori. So that's definitely a state title that's earned.
Yes, he definitely earned that. 160, another great weight class. A lot of upsets here. That match, that finals match was Slivka and Washington was crazy, to say the least.
Yeah.
Oof. Donnell beat him pretty handily during the season. I don't remember the score. I'm sure you do.
Actually, I thought it was 7-2. I know he turned him at the end.
Yeah, 8-3. You're right. You're close.
8-3.
Which is, that's a pretty big margin of victory when you're looking at kids at this level. And Slivka, he wins a overtime match against Dieters in the quarters. Almost didn't even make it there. And then has to be, he was down big. And it was one of those that, he was down huge. And ends up getting, let's see, how many points he scored. He escape. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He scored 9 points. He was down, heading into the second period, he was down 4-2. Actually, no, he was down 6-2 going into the third period. Down 4 going into the third period. You think it's over, and he found another gear, found something, and took it to him, and ended up winning. That's pretty impressive. And on top of that, he officially clinched the team title for the second straight year over a guy that had beat him previously during the season, which is crazy.
And we got to see the Slivkas. We didn't see Jordan Saturday night, but we seen the mom and dad. Great people, always super nice every time. I know Donna usually watches. They're ecstatic. That's just a kid that doesn't let the pressure get to him. When we sit close enough that we were able to see when Donnell took him down right off the bat, he was like, "I gave that one up too easy" or something, into the corner, and then just went back out there.
Yeah.
I know DJ's ultra tough, and IU's getting a really good kid. But, to be the guy that clinches the state title for your team in back-to-back seasons, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And, doing the math before the 152-pound match, I'm like, okay, so obviously Nori or Rogers and Slivka were, underdogs. They lost to those guys before. And obviously during the match they were down to him, and they needed to at least get one of those wins. You're doing the math, and I'm like, Avon might be able to pull this out because obviously
Oh yeah,
Brewer was a fairly solid favorite, and you had two guys that are underdogs, and I even tweeted it out, and obviously
especially after Asa gets the pin. Like
Yeah.
you're thinking like, oh man, like if Cooper Nori just does what he did at the semi-state and beats Rogers, and it just holds true, and DJ beats Slivka again, you're looking at a really tight one. I mean, we were trying to figure out the tie-break criteria.
yeah, I know a couple years ago when Avon and I want to say Modern Day they tied at semi-state. There's no tie-breaking criteria, so
Yeah.
they both were semi-state champions that year. So I believe there's no tie-breaking. I would love for the message that I would have loved for it to been a tie. Just see the message board just blow up, and I know I would not. I'm being very facetious there. Yeah.
Hashtag the county, hashtag Young Guns would have shut that thing down.
Oh yeah, that would have been ugly because obviously they'd have had two champs and maybe one champ, and obviously have to be at the very most one champ. So they'd be like, well, we had more champs, so we're the champions, and yeah, that would have been interesting. So I'm glad a team outright won it, no matter how interesting our scoring system is.
I haven't been part of a team state championship in anything. And man, that team state championship trophy is huge.
Yes.
We've seen Logan Bailey carrying it down the street under his arm. I just assumed that the AD would take it, but nope, they're just walking the streets of Indy. They said they lost it last year.
Nice.
So it's as big as Logan Bailey's like torso.
Yes.
It's huge, like chin to probably knees. This thing's ginormous.
Yeah, it's like about 3 feet high. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So moving up 170, Nick South looked very good.
Yes.
Very, very, very good. Had that close match with Walker. We knew Walker was going to be kind of almost his kryptonite type style, and that was a very good match. I was watching that one pretty closely, and a real good match there. So, and then obviously on top half bracket, Clayton Fielden looked really impressive. Definitely avenging one of his losses from early in the season. South was just a little bit better, got him onto his back early, and then he kind of had to try to claw out late. But
congratulations, though.
First,
You're a Garrett alum, the first one under the lights for Garrett. It's pretty amazing for you guys.
Yeah, the first finalist, which is pretty cool, and I coach with his dad. People don't know. So I've known Clayton since he was really tiny, and I could probably beat up on him. I probably still can. I'm pretty positive I can. So if he ever wants to challenge me, I'll take him
Kraus. I mean, obviously that's big for that program.
Yes.
I see Mike Poppy's videos going viral.
Oh, that's not even a good one. There's some other better ones. There are a lot better ones.
Yeah, if you haven't got a chance to see the Poppy dance, I think you got to check that out. How about just back to Slivka for a second? How about him doing the Pee Wee Herman after he won, right?
Oh, Slivka. Yes. He's a character, to say the least.
How good was that match in the semis with Mahan and South? That was an awesome match.
Yeah, that was. I did not see it, but you were there, so you can comment and tell me. I went to lunch. I'm sorry.
Mahan took him down right away. It was really good. I think just back and forth, and I think sometimes when you're in those matches, like the composure, I think Mahan went for a throw, kind of like DJ did at the 160, and South kind of capitalized. I agree with Larry Collier. He might lift the weights with the 56 Lincoln. That dude's huge.
Yes. So, nice. Yeah. Ron Collier wrestled real well this weekend.
Yeah.
I had to watch the video because I wanted to see how close the heavyweight match was. And Friday night, they should have had another state placer. And that would have definitely put a little kink into how things went, because obviously heavyweight was such a crapshoot that could have been it would have been very interesting with the way they wrestled this weekend.
Yeah.
So
Wade's doing a really good job over there. I think he's done a really good job. They won the semi-state. I think that he's building something pretty good over on the south side.
Definitely, and they're
getting a lot of guys back. Freege's back, Vaduya's back, Lowry's back. I think they're getting a couple other pieces.
Yep, definitely. 182. Andrew Donahue looked really good for a freshman at 182 pounds, and gave Carson Brewer probably one of his closest matches of the year. So that was he looked real good. Obviously, Brewer was by far the favorite. Had a good. I didn't see obviously the Friday night match, but sounded like he controlled the place fairly well. And then he just went through with a couple majors and then beat a really good freshman. So
I thought Carson Brewer looked really good. I hadn't seen him this year, but man, he really filled in. Like, I don't remember him being as big as he was this year, so that's a testament to him lifting all those weights this summer. Eating peanut butter jelly sandwiches, it sounds like.
Yes, those can do a lot of good things for you. Someone sending some messages. So, all the state finals picks are done. Awesome. Can't wait to see those. Nice. There's some good pictures there. Anyway, that was a real good match. The blood time was kind of. I'd like to, obviously that just screws with the way the match flows. The way we've had some. I think Hicks wrestled at sectional. He won by blood time because he got a bloody nose. Just couldn't stop it, and we're like, okay, why don't you try this? It'd be 15 seconds, and you can't do anything in 15 seconds against a good wrestler. So it's hard to get something going for both those guys. So that was, I know one of the Culver coaches said, we were trying to get we had a strategy to wear them down and kind of score some points late, but you couldn't really do that with all those breaks, and that kind of makes it a pretty boring match, because you're stopping all that time. So,
and I thought that was unfair. I thought booing him during his interview, I thought that was kind of an unfair thing. You don't want to see that. Obviously, this is the pinnacle of this guy's high school career. He's going on to Ohio University along with Slivka. But and everyone they can boo if they want and all that stuff. But I just thought that was an unfair thing. I don't think that was it looks intentional when you play it back. I'm sure he's not looking to bust the kid's nose. And then you want to flow in the match too. I'm sure he's a guy that scores a lot of points. You don't want to break every 10 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. That was just sucked for those guys to not be able to wrestle a good match. But definitely impressed with Mr. Donahue, and he looked like he was a little undersized and still beating. Levon Bellamy looked really good. That was the first I really saw him beating Mason Winter, who's no slouch. Yeah. Some real good matches there. Evan Bates is a real good wrestler.
And that should be good next year, those two.
Yeah, definitely.
Both those guys coming back. Well, Bates a sophomore, LaPlace a junior, Donahoe a freshman, should be pretty good. Winter's a junior also, correct?
Yes, should be a real good weight class. I don't see
Jake Lown's a junior.
Many of those guys moving up to 195. Yeah, you have Winter, LaPlace, Lone, John, J.D. Farrell, not John, Evan Bates. A lot of good, really good young guys there.
Right.
So, 195, Allred.
And this is the reason you don't want to move up a weight.
Yes. This is yes.
He is really good. Silas Allred is really good. And I think even better than his wrestling ability is he's like a really good kid off the mat. Like, he's like the type of kid that, like, that's who you want to represent the state with. Well spoken. I thought his interview was great. He's part of the, like, IHSA leadership. What was it? They were handing out the medals. His dad's super nice guy. Great post. Well written. As I'm reading, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Good dude. So that guy's really good. Yeah. Donahue weighed in at 172 on set.
Oh, crap. Sorry.
Good.
I'm typing something and I have some auto things. Okay, we're back. So yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so Nick Willem moving up a couple weight classes, getting under the light. That's pretty amazing. I thought that was pretty great for him. I know he was a guy first year at state. I talked to his dad a little bit before the finals, and him and Silas trained together, so that was pretty cool. Just overall, I was really impressed. I think IU let a good one, a real good one, go get out of the state and go to Nebraska.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. Obviously, we weren't in on any of those conversations, but you always wonder what, obviously Nebraska does a real good job, especially with big guys. So I don't know if it's a little bit of a, could have been money, could have been practice partners, could have been a lot of different things. So, but yeah, obviously I'm very selfish and I'd like to see all of our best wrestlers stay in state, but I also understand full well I went out of state, so I can't complain. But yeah, it's one of those things that definitely would have loved to see him wear the an IU singlet. But yeah, he was double parked, I guess, during the semis because he only wrestled. He was double parked or something because he only wrestled for 33 seconds against a really good Will Nunn.
Yeah, Will Nunn was undefeated at that point.
Yes.
Caleb Spire said he's wrestled less than 45 minutes all year in 35 matches.
And one of the matches, he only had one 6-minute match on Saturday. So
yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's a good kid, man. He's a really good kid.
Yeah. So no, he's gonna. Yeah, that's why those guys are not going up to 195 because I really don't see Silas up at 220 unless he's chasing some matches, and I don't know if there's anyone to chase up at 220. Speaking of A.J. Fowler, one of 7 kids, not 12 like I previously mentioned. I was reprimanded for that.
Hardy said there might be 12, but he's only claiming 7.
That's the first I met him. Great guy. Oh, he came up to me and gave me crap about that, and I'm like, I knew enough that he was joking, but it was like, okay, yes, I believe. I'm sorry. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
What do you say? Something like,
he's a great dude.
Yeah. He said something like that.
As we were talking about Eric Allred down here, just missed it. We were just talking about how great of a guy he is and how great his kid is. Yeah. Just says right now, Eric Allred's watching.
Nice. Oh, jeez.
AJ Fowler put on a great tournament. I thought the 220 weight was a weight that was wide open all year, but we had 3 of the top 4 in the semis. Andrew Irick is really good. I think that I was really impressed with the way he wrestled Drew Bailey on Friday night. And going forward, obviously the guys that placed ahead of him in the top 3 were all seniors. But I was really impressed the way he moved and things like that. I think that he's going to be really good. But AJ beat a really tough Will Stewart in the quarters, who's been there twice now. Then he revenged the loss with number 1 ranked Jacob Bolte of Columbus East from the Al Smith, where I think AJ originally had hurt his knee at, and then came from behind in that match to tie it, to send it to overtime, took Bolte down in overtime, and then won a good one. And if you stayed late for 220 on Saturday night, you got a good match because he was down pretty big, and I thought Lawson Aiken did a really good job of controlling the pace early on, and AJ just kind of pressed the action. I thought it was really good. And if you want to watch the end of the match, I know Region Sports got the final minute, and it's had a ton of shares, and you can hear me yelling like a big idiot on there. I don't know if you can find me, but you can hear a lot of people yelling. So I'm super happy for AJ because I've known him since he was a kid. I've known the family, a great family. Coach Watkins was my coach when I was there. I think he's been there since like 1990. I just recently submitted the Hall of Fame ballot for him. I think that he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I know we had talked about it before. I thought that so if you're a coach and you're watching and you're part of the IHSWCA, make sure you get that nomination in.
Yeah.
Lawson Aiken put a great run together. Man, Brownsburg just grinds out big guys, right?
Yes, they do. That was he had a real good tournament. Like you said, Irick was really impressive. You got a lot of youngsters there. You have Irick, Will Stewart from South Spencer comes back, and so does Drew Webster. Webster was pretty impressive. Lost an ultimate tiebreaker to Bolte. And ends up 5th. So he's beaten all those guys beating each other all year long. So I'm sure him and Irick probably wrestled a dozen times and beat each other every other time. So,
Yeah.
he lost at Cornwall
Troy-
there. He got lost. No,
Troy
Webster
Hahn
beat him at regional. Yeah.
Yeah. Troy Hahn is incorrect. Watkins is 3-0 under the lights. He was not coaching Calumet in 1984 for Tony Smith and Barry Hanley, but Calumet is 5-0 under the lights.
Yes.
Um,
That's pretty impressive.
yeah.
Just got to get to the lights.
I was shocked that the Cornwall match Friday night shocked me. That was probably one of the shockers for me. I thought Kyle Cornwall, I actually had him as into the finals. But Joey Kidwell wrestled great. He's a big, strong kid. We seen him at the East Chicago Semi-State. I was really impressed with him.
Yeah. That was probably one of the bigger upsets. Cornwall has been so solid over the past few years. Real good, real tough, and obviously a Friday night. Big guys. The biggest thing is they got to wait around so long to wrestle, and there's a lot of nerves building up. There's a lot of, when we've had big guys in the past, we've told them not even to warm up yet. Don't warm up with the regular guys because you're going to have 3-4 hours before you wrestle. So, Cornwall is actually ranked throughout this year, I believe. So,
yeah. I mean, he was in the semis of the Super 32, right? He lost the number 1 ranked guy.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad match. They were banging pretty good.
Yeah. So Cornwall's a real good wrestler. I think he's going to just stock maybe dropped a little bit, I guess, after but one tournament doesn't define him, and I think he'll do real well at IU. Hopefully. I don't know if he's going to be a 95 or 220. I think he might be kind of in that tweener. He needs or 95 or heavyweight, 97 or heavyweight. So it'd be interesting to see where he ends up. He puts some weight on. He can get kind of big and do well at heavyweight. One of the lighter heavyweights. So you never know what's.
Yeah, and it'll be difficult because they still have Rudy Streck there also.
Yeah, so that should be a good one. Definitely, AJ looked really good. I love the picture of AJ hugging Watkins, and Watkins' glasses are falling off.
Yeah. Hey, I think that guy has the same glasses he did in 2001. Those might have been his lucky glasses from 1999 when Thurman Stone won it.
If you take a look at Chad Hollaball's glasses, he has one of the sides is held together with athletic tape. That's why you lost the pick'ems there, Caleb. Jeez. Yeah. Speaking of choke jobs. Speaking of coach choke jobs, Caleb Spires. Holy cow.
I love Caleb's post on Saturday or Sunday morning, though.
Yes.
As I'm waking up at noon to eat breakfast. That was a great post. Heavyweight. Amazing weight, like top to bottom. We said like the unpredictability of it. It could have won a ton of ways. That Jamichael Watts, Alex Cartwright semifinal. And what's sad is like that. Obviously, everyone's saving seats. It's a hot topic every year. They showed the video of everyone making the mad dash to the stadium, but so everyone leaves to go get their spot in line. That was probably one of the best matches. Those guys move like 20-pounders, 120, and those guys were just out there putting some great scrambles together. Alex Cartwright, Jamichael Watts, probably one of the better matches of the semifinal round.
Yeah, I watched that one when we were eating lunch, and I was like, wow, they were getting after it, and I don't know how Cartwright's trying like Granby rolls. I'm like, what are you doing? You're a heavyweight. You're 286.5 pounds.
Man, there was a point where Cartwright had a single leg in overtime, and Watts was like on one leg bouncing around for like 12 seconds.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking like, 286-pound men shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah.
These dudes are great. I don't know if any of those guys are going to wrestle anywhere. I know I talked to Bobby Joe. He wants to talk to Cartwright and try to get him at Calumet College to wrestle with Fowler, who won his conference this weekend. But I don't know. Jamichael Watts plays football. If he doesn't, he probably should.
Yeah.
He'd probably be really good at it. He should. He should be a really good football player. A really good football player. Won the state title from Brownsburg. Those guys just great coaches. It's amazing to me the way that they get those guys to produce year in and year out. They said something like he got 8 sacks in one game. I asked one of my friends who was a pretty good football player if he ever had 8 sacks in a game. He said he didn't have 8 sacks his senior year. And that guy's not playing like small level football. He's playing in that like Indianapolis area. But like We debunked it. I didn't debunk it. I was gonna let that story live on that he's only been wrestling for 15 months. Joe went out and debunked it. He's a myth buster. He's been wrestling a little bit longer, but not much. Not much. For him to win a state title is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Either way. Yeah. I mean, because he wrestled in middle school. He won like a middle school conference. He was like undefeated. If you look on Track Wrestling, there's you can find him. And then he was registered at he was at Ben Davis. He was actually on Ben Davis state championship football team last year. So this is his first year at Brownsburg. So I know he wrestled for at least a little bit his freshman year. He was on the roster for the Shamrock Slam, which is at Westfield, but he didn't wrestle any matches. So that's the last I could find of his that darn Track Wrestling. So
yeah.
So
but he wrestled a guy from Ben Davis all year. Did they wrestle? I know they wrestled this week. Was Sadibi in the semis also? Or no.
No, he lost to Cartwright, but I'm sure they wrestled that. Yeah, Sadibi lost to Keys conference at sectional.
At the semi-state.
Yes, sectional, regional, and semi-state.
So Ben Davis could have had two of the best heavyweights in the state in their room at one point.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was some great wrestling. Definitely some great memories, great weekend. It sucks that it's over. I love the state finals, but then just like the NCAA finals, it's over. Then it's like, what do you do? I have to go to work Monday, and I don't have anything to look forward to. I go, there's no practice, or it's kind of I hate just how it ends. It just end over. So. But I'm sure the real reason why everyone's here, listening to us blabble, is the awards. So first off, we have 1A, 2A, and 3A wrestler and coaches of the year. That is kind of chosen by myself and the other staff. Usually, some of them are fairly cut and dry, some are not. So we kind of debate. And then the Mr. Gorilla Award, I'll go over that in a few minutes, but that is not chosen by me. So, first off, the drum roll. The 1A Wrestler of the Year was pretty easy, cut and dry. Silas Allred. That was pretty easy.
First state champ was high school also.
Yes. First state champ in school history. The 2A Wrestler of the Year, another pretty easy slam dunk. AJ Fowler, the only 2A state champ. So for Calumet High School, not Calumet New Tech.
It's Calumet New Tech. That's a high school.
The 3A Wrestler of the Year was very. Let's leave that one for a little bit later.
Afterwards,
yeah. But we'll go over Coaches of the Year. 1A coach, Tony Curry. He also was the Coaches Association Coach of the Year. He had a real good year with Adams Central. Had 2 state qualifiers, state placer, won 1A state title. This is his second time he's won the award. He's going to start a good collection of them, it looks like. 2A Coach of the Year, Western's Chad Shepard. Had a real good year coaching and on the mat. 3 state qualifiers. They won 2A state title really over a really good Wawa C team. Really great, good match. Got those kids to wrestle well at the right time. 3A Coach of the Year, Sean McGinley from Cathedral. He had real good. Obviously getting those guys ready, getting those. They had 5 at the state, and you looked at, obviously you had Brownsburg and Mater Dei with 9 guys there. The odds were stacked against them. They had to get those guys to the finals. They had to have every one of those guys place, and they did what they needed to do to get their points and end up pulling out another state title. So, congrats to him.
Isn't it amazing? I know someone had posted it last year, the winning percentages for these coaches on Friday night. And Sean McGinley's is so high, it's crazy. Yeah, and then he brings 5 guys, and they all medal, 5 for 5.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive. I think he has like a 75 or 80% winning percentage. It was something just stupid. on Friday night. Maybe we'll have to redo that one. I gotta get some more coaches on there, but yeah, that's pretty impressive. 3A Wrestler of the Year. Definitely a fan favorite of the fans and of us. Great kid, always fun to talk to, even though he was not wearing his Gorilla socks on Saturday night like I thought he was. I'm very disappointed in him. He's lucky he got an award. But Jordan Slivka of Cathedral, very impressive. 2 years in a row. He's been the clincher, putting for the team state title. And that's pretty in the state finals against guys that had beaten him before. So, congrats to him. The Mr. Gorilla Award, just as a little side. This is not voted by me. We had about 30 some people, a little over 33 votes, 31 people actually, because the fan vote on Twitter gets 2 votes, voted on it. And this is media from around the state and country, coaches and administrators that have wrestling ties. So it's a good sampling. One thing I was talking to Mike before, I don't like to have to choose this personally, because if it's me, it's gonna be like, oh, you didn't like this person, oh, you don't like me, their coach or whatever. But it's also having this many people vote gives it a little bit more validity. Obviously, guys maybe in the region are gonna be more apt to vote for a guy in their area. Someone down south's gonna, Columbus newspaper is gonna say, hey, I like Rooks, I like South, they're my 1-2, which is, I would never say that they're not. They have definitely very good reasons to be number 1 and 2, but it also kind of cancels out throughout the state. And we do give out awards for the first runner-up and second runner-up. So the second runner-up is Caden Rooks. So congratulations to him. The first runner-up is Nick South. South had 28 votes out of 33, so which is pretty impressive, especially the guys that he was wrestling, the guys that in this class, really good class. And the 2019 Mr. Gorilla is from Da County, 2 years in a row, kind of. Asa Garcia.
Yeah, so, definitely earned it.
Yes, very much so. 3-time state champ, and you're looking through. I was looking through the senior class. You have Garcia, 4-time medalist, 3-time champ. Nick South, the 2-time champ. Rooks, 3-time placer, 2-time champ. Moran, 3-time placer, 2-time champ. Slivka, 4-time placer, 2-time champ. Brewer, a 1-time champ. Watts, a 4-time placer, 1-time champ. Fowler, qualifier. He was a qualifier last year, right? And then
qualifier and champ.
Braden Curtis, 4-time placer, 2-time champ. Donnell Washington was 2 places in Indiana and then placed once in Illinois. Cartwright, you got Mosconi, was a 3-time placer, 4-time
Jacob Moran, 2-time champ, 1-time medalist last year.
Yeah. So that's a pretty impressive class overall. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys with more than one title. That's pretty good for for a class. So very good class to come out on top. We'll post the number of the top 5 for the votes here for and their number of first place votes. It was pretty close vote for the most part. So it's always interesting when you start getting them in. I start kind of peeking at the numbers and saying, oh wow, it's kind of neat to see that kind of stuff. And we got a lot of people that vote for these kids, and definitely like having that. Appreciate those guys, those people taking a couple minutes to vote on who they think should earn it. And definitely Asa gets to be a voter now. It's kind of like the Hall of Fame or whatever. Once you're in, you get to be an official voter, so you can vote on it next year. So, any other comments there, Mike?
Did the other former champs of the Mr. Gorilla Award, did they send their votes in?
I only got one to do that. The others did not respond to their messages.
They're pretty busy.
Yes, they're all busy in college doing that wrestling thing, I guess. So, yeah, I will have to get on them a little bit earlier next year. Make sure they check their messages. So, but yeah, we got them to vote. We got 33 people. Obviously the best part was the Twitter voting. I know Asa and Slivka got into a little bit of a GIF war. So that was pretty funny. That's pretty amusing. Supposedly, the word on the street is Slivka has never bowled under 300 in a bowling game. So that's just the word on the street.
We were trying to sneak them into, Punch Bowl Social. They got bowling lanes in there. We wanted to get this thing out the way, but they were too busy celebrating state championships, and we were just hanging out.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go down to Indy, and I will challenge. I will put my state title. This is my state title. My state title for bowling. I'll put this on the line against Slivka. 1989.
Are you serious, dude? I always thought this was a joke. Are you for real?
Yeah.
If we would have won,
I was 10 years
and
old.
I'll submit that they would have really challenged us to like a duo, Elliot Rogers and Slivka. They would have smoked us. I'm terrible.
I'd put you on my back. I'd carry you.
Yeah, I'm awful.
I was gonna be the future
I get happy
Weber.
when I break 100. I'm like a little kid.
I don't think Slivka can either. I think
But Elliot Rogers is probably a super. Me and Slivka will be bowling for last place.
I think from what I heard is he didn't crack like 70 when they bowled for like over like break or something. I think I saw a little bit of the score. I don't think he broke over 70. I don't see Slivka being that athletic enough to roll a ball in a straight manner.
He would find a way. That's what he does. That's why he's a 3A wrestler of the year. He'll find a way.
Yeah, he'd probably
find a way to really get a 300 when it matters the most.
Yes. Yes. So definitely, we'll have to challenge him. Maybe go down to Indy, have a special camp. We'll go on his home turf. We'll go on his lanes. I'm not afraid. So, congrats to all the awards winners. I'll be in contact with you guys to send you guys the awards or see you guys in random events. I got to get them made and a couple ordered actually. But we will be in touch. So, any other lasting parting words of wisdom, Mike?
We always say it, and I always appreciate it. We meet so many good people, and this is like the weekend where it all kind of comes together, and you see a lot of people that enjoy the show, then that watch the Guerrilla Radios, or they enjoy the site. I always appreciate when people tell me thank you for making the site, and I always say, yeah, you're welcome, but I really didn't do anything. Obviously, Region Sports did a really good job. I was down there doing the coverage with them. I thought that was pretty cool. Just overall a great weekend, and you really get to be around a lot of really good people, and I think that's always like the coolest thing is just how cool the wrestling community is, and just like how appreciative of people are of what the product that we're putting out, which I always find to be pretty amazing that as many people tune in and watch as they do, and then people that go back and watch it and come up and say, oh, it's weird when you hear people say, oh, that's the Indiana Mac guy, and I always think that's pretty nuts. Yeah.
No, it's the one thing I remember always sticks with me is when we did an interview, I think with Bobby Cox, what's so special, what's your thought on the state, state finals? He said the wrestling state finals is so much different than any other state finals. It's like a family reunion. All the people come back, it's fun, it's exciting, but everyone knows, we're all one big family. Might be a tad bit dysfunctional at times, but everyone appreciates, the work that those kids put in and everything. So it's one of those things that, I always see it, everyone says thank you and stuff, and, it's 10 years plus of doing this, and, I didn't know what we were doing 10 years ago, still don't know what I'm doing, kind of just fell in my lap, and, we've done, I think, a pretty good job of, doing things. I know a lot of people like the articles. I know a lot of people, we're tweeting out every one of the results from state, which is pretty cool. I know that my phone's, getting a lot of notifications, people retweeting and stuff. A couple complaints that we didn't put weight classes on there, but all that kind of stuff. Pretty neat to see that kind of stuff going on there. But yeah, I'm excited for, keep producing great content. I know one of the biggest things I'm working on this spring is maybe getting our the book updated, the Ancient Elder book. I have all the data. I'm just now going over it and making sure I don't have doubles and triples of names and trying to just fine tune everything with that. I want to make sure it's as good as possible. And then also have the online version so you can look at the brackets and see all that fun stuff. So that's my spring project here. So I'm pretty excited for what for what's coming in the future and all the fun stuff that goes on with this fun website. It's a little endeavor I've taken upon myself and others.
Yeah. Obviously, this is a good time. Like, you always look forward. I know we used to, before we did the awards, we used to do like who we're looking forward to seeing next year and things like that, incoming freshmen. Just you go on. I go on the youth board, not all the time, but when I do, those guys do a really good job. Hector does a really good job. So it should be interesting the next couple of years with the amount of kids that are coming in and the talent level. As we've seen with like Mendez and KT Nelson and Seltzer and Donahoe and and all those guys. I think it's pretty amazing that these guys are coming in and contending right away. Cernus coming in and contending for state titles, and a lot of guys on that list are going to be contending for state titles. And it's also interesting to see like kids coming into Indiana instead of going away. Even though Colton Drusis, who would have been a Hanover Central kid, won a 3A state title at 113 pounds in Illinois. But it's cool to see Michigan kids coming in, like Nick Buchanan coming back and Bedich coming in, and kids from Ohio coming in. So it's definitely been a pretty cool run. Le'Veon Bellamy from Iowa. Now we can get some Kentucky kids coming in. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely gonna be some fun wrestling the next few years. I'm definitely like this freshman class. That's one of those things I had been keep my eye on. And we knew kind of coming in. Then you had to add a couple Culver kids and stuff that came through. It's a good freshman class, and I'm kind of excited to watch these guys wrestle. And dream team. I can't. I'd lie if I'm not kind of eyeing if we want to bring the dream team back. It might be with that freshman class because they're going to be hammers, and I'd like to beat Team USA. That's all I'd like to. It's only been done one other time, and that was kind of a little bit of a fluke. So I'd like to do it for real. And back last year we were very close. We have a couple matches go our way, and it could be a lot closer. So
amazing atmosphere. I think, like you said, forecasting forward. I mean, you have a lot of guys that are really talented.
Yep, and there'll be you're looking. You have a Cernus, you have a Seltzer, you have Mendez, you have Donahoe. Those are 4 studs, super studs that are going to be. You're taking a number 1 guy in the country. I'm not gonna say that they're not gonna beat those guys. So I just hope. Yes, I hope they all stay in Indiana, Nick. I definitely do.
Yeah. Brady Welch looked good. He was a freshman. Gabe Sollers. You had guys like Cade Law looked really good Friday night, who's a freshman. Matthew Coons didn't make it. Griffin Eisen. Kate. All the guys at 6. And I know Caleb had posted 106 going out like the year. I think the year Asa won it, and just the depth of that weight class and how it's spread across. I mean, that's going to be going forward. It's really. It's really interesting to forecast that, but like I said, next year's freshman class looks pretty strong also.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Lots of stuff going on. I know someone asked if we were going to be at freshman sophomore state. I assume, Mike, you're not going to be your full softball dad mode now.
Yeah, I'll be in Lafayette yelling at little kids.
I may sneak down there Saturday. I do not know. I have a family vacation set for next week, so I don't know what I'm doing yet. So maybe I'll sneak down there for a little bit Saturday. I know I have a few kids going down there.
I love that tournament, though. I think that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, Mark's done a great job with that. And I know he brought it up to me a few years ago, and I'm like, that's a good idea. I just don't know how it's going to take off, and it's a lot of work, and especially, he asked, if we would host something, like one of the qualifiers and stuff, and I said, I politely declined just because I have too much going on, and I don't want to, I guess, keep my focus on the kids, but he's done a great job with that, and it takes a lot of work to do that kind of stuff. So
amazing tournament.
Yes.
If you're a freshman and sophomore, and you're looking to make an impact, and maybe you didn't make the impact you wanted, or if you did, go attend that. I think it's amazing. I posted 2 years ago, the sophomores, AJ Fowler, Silas Allred, Carson Brewer, Cooper Norrie was in the finals. You're looking forward to get that level and just kind of even measure and stick to where you're at.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty amazing thing.
Yep, and I know you look at that for rankings for next year. For those guys
Yep.
that might have been JV or might have just taken an early exit. That's always one you use. Obviously, use some ISWA stuff, IPO kind of stuff, but that's always one of those things. There's probably 3 or 4 tournaments that you look at for, especially to fill out some of those bottom part of those rankings, and keep an eye, or either that or you're earmarking, hey, man, this kid placed 5th here, only lost a 3-2 match to so and so who was a top guy. I'm gonna keep my eye on him. So.
Oh yeah, and then you're kind of like you said earlier in the show, like you start looking towards like Ashton Hayhurst, who I think is really good, and Brody Bauman or whatever, both wrestled 26, which is pretty crazy to me. Those guys were both 13-pounders. I mean, forecasting forward, Modern Day is going to have to fill a spot towards the top of that rotation where they're losing one of the Eglies. And those guys are going to grow, so it's pretty exciting. Victor Spice has been on me to get some socks.
Socks, yes. So.
So
Eric, send me a message. Maybe if we don't make it down, I know someone. So yeah. With that, hope everyone has a great off season. We'll be back. I don't know when. We'll give you guys a heads up whenever. We're gonna get on here again. Probably talk some wrestling. Maybe right before NCAs. I know a lot of Indiana guys are doing well in NCAs. Gonna be exciting. I'll be down there. I'll be on the floor. If you watch semifinals, I'll be on the mat there. Try not to wear too much Indiana mat stuff because they don't like that, but you'll see me there. Get front row seat.
No one tells me not to wear my Indiana mat stuff. That's part of my contract with everybody. I wear Indiana mat.
So yeah. So anyway, we're gonna let you guys go because it's almost 11 o'clock my time, and I'm sure I got a little bit of a cold, but hit me Monday. So hopefully I get this out of here before the vacation. So everyone have a great weekend. Everyone have some great off season, and we'll be back sometime. I don't know when. Sometime.
Maybe after these team state picks out.
Yes.